Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to episode 19 of the Marketing That Grows Your Business show. I'm super excited that you guys are here. As you're dropping in, that sounds terrible, like you're just dropping. As you're coming in, would you just let me know how in the world are you and where in the world are you? I always like to kind of open up with, just having that quick little shout out saying, how you guys doing? Next up, I would just a few housekeeping things. If you're brand new and have never been on one of my shows before, basically, this show is all about growing your business at the end of the day. My name is Kim Garst. I'm an online business strategist, and I love helping others grow their businesses, increasing their bottom lines using the power of digital and social media. So if that is intriguing to you, then you're in the right place. If you are brand new, I would love it if you just drop in. Hey, I'm new. I don't know who you are. I'd love to meet you if you would. And so if you just drop that in, we've got Vegas in the house. We've got good morning, Tanya. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And then we've got Bobby from Wisconsin, Carol from Destin. Hey guys, so glad you're here. So today, like I say, today we've got some really, really special people. I'm super excited to share some of my favorite people through this show with you guys. But our special guests today are from the UK. So yes, they do have fabulous accents that you guys are gonna go. Us ladies in particular seem to have a fascination. I'll say that generally speaking for us here in the US, we tend to have a fascination with accents. I'll raise my hand and say I do anyway. So they have wonderful accents, but more importantly, they are super, super young men who create amazing content. So that's what I'm excited to share with you guys today. We're going to be talking content, not just content for content's sake, but how you create engaging / entertaining content. There's this term called edumatainment, and I really feel like Andrew and Pete have nailed that. Oh, did I just let that cat out of the bag? Oh, y'all already know who our special guests are, but I'm going to give you a little bit more. Wow, look at you guys. I'm so excited to see all of you. So here's some. Anne says, I do too. Love the accents, right? On every show, guys, we do some giveaways. And on the way you win is if you hear something that's like, oh my gosh, this is an aha moment, then just drop in #aha. Those of you who have been on my shows before, you kind of know the spiel. That's how we choose the winners. Now, what can you win? We have a couple of things. We do the little webcam cover. So, there's a lot of talk these days about the fact that people can spy on you through your webcam. So how many of you have ever been on Zoom and you get on and somebody's got a purple background? It's because they've got a sticky on their webcam. So this solves that problem. So we're going to be giving away one of these. We're also giving away a ring light that fits right on top of your camera. So it's a super little on the go light source for you. And we are also going to highlight our sponsor for today's show. It's easel.com, and they have gifted us with three-month accounts. So we'll be giving away, choosing 3 winners for 3 months of easel.com. Easel.com is a graphic design tool, basically any kind of thing that you would need to create for your social content or even outside of your social content, anything that honestly, you can even create a menu if you're a restaurant using easel.com. So really cool little tool, and you can definitely leverage that for free for 3 months if you win. So don't forget to drop in your #ahas. So Amy is saying, I would love easel. Yeah, it's a really great little tool. All right, so like I say, guys, today I want to share with you Andrew and Pete. They are, like I said before, from the UK. They specialize in content creation. but they honestly are very passionate about a lot of the same things that I am when it comes to sharing their expertise and helping others up level their businesses. And so that's exciting to have that same energy. I met Andrew and Pete years ago at Social Media Marketing World. They had reached out prior to coming to Social Media Marketing World and said, hey, can we just get together for coffee? And so we did. That was the very first time I had met them. And now they have evolved from just coming as an attendee to Social Media Marketing World, but now they are a speaker. Last year, I think it was, and I'll ask you guys in just a moment, they were actually the keynote. So they are incredible. So you guys are going to be super blessed by what's getting ready to happen. All right, so I'm going to bring them in. Y'all give them a hand. I tell you, I need some sound effects here. All right.
Woo! We'll do your sound effects for you, Kim.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having us, Kim.
Yeah. I told you guys they are super fun, and we are going to have a ton of fun today. And if you have questions, please drop them in. I will try my best. Normally on the Marketing That Grows Your Business show, I have somebody that helps me manage all this, but today I am winging it. Today we had some tech issues. We had to go with a different tool. So we are totally winging it. So if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask them. I will try to catch as many of them as I can. Okay, guys.
I will be your Jeff C, Kim. Don't worry. I will keep an eye on these comments.
On these
and
questions.
I will grow a beard by the end of this.
Okay.
Hello to some of the amazing Atomic people in there as well. We got Carrie Ray, Sally Howe, Cheryl Laylor in the house. Hello, everybody.
I love it. Awesome. Well, we've got a great crowd. We are loud. We can be loud, but we are live on Facebook, Periscope, Twitter. And so I see a lot of Periscope folks in the crowd. So glad you guys are here. And LinkedIn as well as YouTube. So
just all the world.
Everywhere.
I know. We're live. We're everywhere. Okay, so I had some big plans. I was going to show you guys some of Andrew and Pete's content just to kind of give you a flavor of some of how they show up. But since we had to switch tools, we don't have some of the things I had planned in place. But that's okay. We're just going to go with it. All right. So you guys, like I said before, we met like what? You think it was 7 years ago?
2015. I remember specifically 2015 we first met.
Well, that's been 5 years. It's maybe edging on 6 because we're getting on up there, right? So you guys have made a really fast transition from, just soaking up as much knowledge, implementing that knowledge, and then, now you've come to a place where everybody comes to you, right? You're taking opportunities. People are involved in your membership platform. They're soaking up and learning from you. So what did that look like? Like when you first started on this content journey, and then understanding that you needed to focus on your content. How did that happen? Kind of tell the backstory a little bit.
So we set up our business fresh out of university. So that was 2011. I feel like for the first 4 years, maybe, we were just kind of faffing on with it. That's a phrase we say in the UK. I don't know if that translates across the pond.
I think we got it. Yeah.
Yeah, you got it. We weren't very focused. We weren't really doing, well, we felt like we were doing a lot, but we probably weren't. And then it was actually at that event, Social Media Marketing World, where we first met you, Kim. That was the first time we attended that event. It was the first time going to even an event outside of our local area, like a conference of that size. And it just our eyes were just wide open all of a sudden with the possibilities of what you can do with content, with social media, with growing an audience. And we came back from that event. It was 5 days. We spent 5 days in San Diego. It was like a whistle stop tour. And we got back to Newcastle in the UK, and we were like, right, our business needs to change. We need to be a lot more on it with the type of content we're creating. We need to be a lot more on it with how we're getting across our brand and what we're all about. And even though that was 5 years ago, Pete, it feels like it happened very quickly. once we got going with it. Would you agree?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, for example, before social media marketing world, we'd spent 4 years running networking events, and we thought we were doing okay growing our network. But then it's just an illusion. So afterwards, at the same time we started networking, like people like yourself, like John Lee Dumas, all these kinds of people started like a podcast or started creating blogs and live shows and so forth. And it was like, okay, they're now like millionaires. So what did we do wrong? So then we were like, okay, we really need to create content. And what we did was, like everyone else, we just created a lot of content just for the sake of it. Like, we should be doing it. And it didn't really get us anywhere. So if you're listening to this now, like, stay tuned. If you are feeling like you are creating content, but you're not getting a lot from it, because that's what we're going to help you with right now, because that's what we did for years. And it was soon after we started to think, okay, this like content is just content for the sake of it, and it's not amazing, it's not getting us anywhere, it's not rapidly growing our audience or getting us customers particularly fast. So something needs to change. And that's when we started to create more entertaining content, more content that was more of ourselves. Like, we were young and we felt like we had to act all professional, and we were like, we're fun people, but we were coming across as really dull and boring because we felt like we had to be professional. But professional doesn't mean boring or serious. Professional means you're capable of what you're doing. And we were capable, and we could show that we're capable, but just in a funner way, in a more entertaining way. So let me know if that resonates with anyone. Like, if you're creating content, but you're not going anywhere, or you're trying to be overly professional, you're not letting yourself out, like, let us know if that resonates.
So I have to say, I remember in the early days when I was first introduced to you guys, I remember Twitter and specifically, because the first time that you guys reached out, I believe it was on Twitter, to say, hey, can we meet up? And I remember looking at your profile and you had dirt all over your faces. And I'm like, what? This is like hilarious. So do y'all remember that?
Yeah, it was soot. It was because we had just launched Atomic. We did these photos with our photographer, and like, they came back and we were suited and booted. And we were looking at them, and we were just like cringing, like seeing
really
it. Like, we need to do this over. Like, and then we were like, can you make us look exploded? Yeah. And she was like, yes, you need all of this. Let's do it.
The funny part about it was that it caught my attention, because I was like, oh my gosh, who are these guys? And it's fun. It was different. It was an interruption in the normal. And so I would just like you guys to, I'm seeing some ahas saying, don't be overly professional, or, let yourself out, says, or, professional equals authentic. Yes. And I love this one. Carrie is saying, hard to believe you guys were ever boring. But I think there's a lot of people that get stuck in that framework of, oh my gosh, I'm a business, therefore I have to do X, Y, Z, instead of really showing up with personality. I think I think that's the key. If you look at anybody that's really rocking it in the social space, that's the one thing they all have, is they're authentic to their personality. And you guys are super fun. But let's talk about, what's the first thing when you made that shift from, oh my gosh, I'm just creating a bunch of stuff for contents. We all do it. In fact, all of us have been guilty of it at some point, where we're just creating content for content's sake, because somebody said that we needed to write a blog post once a week, or, we need to put this much out on social or whatever. But when you made that intentional shift to deciding that your content needed to be different, what did that look like for you guys? I mean, what was that thing that clicked in your head that said, hey, this is not working? You said you knew it wasn't working, but what was that next step for you guys?
Okay, so I think what we realized is that there are two ways that you can stand out with your content. You can be better, or you can be different, right? And we were competing with people that had been doing this for years up until this point. Like, they had all the tech sorted, they had all the tools, had all the gadgets, had the experience. And it's really hard to stand out by being better. And unless you're like the best, and often like we all have very competitive industries, like it's really hard to have that as your differentiator. So for us, it was like, all right, we need to like come at this from a different kind of angle. And it does go back to almost unlocking that personality. So even though we were doing networking and we were growing our business through networking, we were doing really well at networking because we were ourselves in the room. Like when we were doing like our pitches to the room, we would always have like a little bit, and we would throw chocolate across the room. And like we were cleaning up in our local networking scene. Like everyone knew who we were. And like as soon as we compared that to like our blogs and our newsletters and what our online presence looked like, it was just complete.
I think someone actually told us.
Okay,
I think someone actually said, like, I've read your blogs, and now we've met you in person. You're nothing like your blogs.
So one of the things that people have always told me is, well, before I say that, have you ever thrown mashed potatoes?
I mean,
we've had like indoor. We've had party poppers. We've had indoor fireworks. But we've never thrown mashed potato.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just giving you some, I think that might, or thrown a pie. I mean, let's, if you're going to throw things, let's make a splash with it, right? But one of the things that I have heard a lot from people over the years is they say when they meet me, I'm exactly the same as I am online as I am offline. Mm-hmm. And your point in that is so real. So I really want people to hear what they just said in the context of understanding that when you don't talk online or show up online like you are in real life, it's a total disconnect. And it doesn't take people long. In fact, one, it doesn't take them long, or two, they don't even pay attention because it's dull and boring. So you guys connected on that. And then you said, okay, how do we bring that ourselves into our content, right? And what did that look like? Like, how did you make that transition from going from like, okay, let me just check the box on this content, wrote a blog, to actually inserting your personality into your content?
Yeah, so like a really tactical thing we did is we got very crystal clear on how we wanted to be perceived, both online and offline, and however anybody came across us. And we came up with 3 brand rules, or 3 brand guidelines that we wanted to live by. And we started teaching this to people, and people really started resonating with this. So often when people will say, like, what are your brand values, or how do you want to be described when you're not in the room, people will come up with those brand values that everyone says. Things like professional, friendly, I care about my customers, great quality, that kind of stuff. And we realized that wasn't good enough. You were never going to build a standout brand on what we call like baseline values. Like everyone should be friendly and professional and have quality content. So what we pushed ourselves to do, and what we started pushing our customers to do, was come up with what we call standout brand values. So they're values that not everyone in your industry just has as a rule. So for us, we had rule breakers was one. We had best friends, because we were best friends and we wanted our audience to feel like we were friends with them. And we had action takers. So we didn't want just like fluffy content that doesn't leave anyone with something to actually go do. And every single piece of content that we created, and not just every blog or every video, but everything that we did in our business, even like down to the small things, like what our tweets sounded like, or what our voicemail sounded like, or what our business cards looked like, they all had to hit at least one of those brand values.
Ooh, like, for example, when you used to be able to auto DM people on Twitter and everyone used to hate it. Well, we had a funny one that said, oh no, an auto DM, get your revenge here, with a link. And then on that link, people could basically click an option of whether to like pie us in the face, kick us in the leg, or like slap us on the face. And it was just a cartoon, but like people would click on all the mean things.
Throw some mashed potato.
I just realized, Andrew, you have behind you the faces.
Oh, I do. Let me grab one.
That's a good spot. Yeah, well done.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh.
These are the blown up faces
that I can't actually hear you, but here we go.
Yeah, those are awesome. So this is how I was first introduced to you guys. And interestingly enough, I would have probably never told. So a lot of times when I tell people to, how to set up their bios, I'll be like, okay, make sure you have a nice, clear photo of yourself smiling. But again, the interruption was so interesting to me. I was like, that is so clever. So thinking about it from the context of how can you show up? I know lots of things that you're very intentional now with your, what I would call edutainment, where you do have an entertainment value attached to your content. But before we go into that real quick, I'd like to ask, like, generically speaking, when it comes to what makes content engaging in your all's eyes, like, when people are going to engage with content, what do you find? Like, are there characteristics? Is there commonalities? What does that look like?
Yeah, so there's like 5 reasons why people will share your content, in our opinion. And if you can like hit on those kind of things, then you really got something special. And I'll tell you what they are in a second. If you want to know, let me know in the comments if you want to know what those 5 things are. But let's get some engagement here, right? It's like we know what we're talking about. And I'll only do it if we get like 10 comments at least. So get typing, guys. And I think the crux of it, though, like before I say these 5 things, is that you need to invest the time into doing it. So Andy Crestodina does a research piece every year, and he asks all the bloggers, he asks thousands of bloggers, people who have a blog in their business, and he says, how long do you spend on your blog? And at the top of the survey, he asks, like, do you get good results from your blog? And every single year, it correlates to basically the people who invest more time in it get better results. Surprise, surprise. But the average is like 4 to 6 hours that people spend. But like if you spend over 6 hours per piece of content, per blog he talks about, but it could be said the same for every other pieces of content, like you're going to get drastically better results. And the people that do the 1% of the things that make a blog good are the people that get like 99% of all the traffic, all the benefits, all the audience. Like it's that 1% of the people that actually do the work get the biggest results. And to a degree, I would actually be half tempted to say that if you are doing a blog and you're not putting like that much effort into it, it's almost a waste of time. Almost. It's not completely, but it's almost.
I love this comment from Tanya. She says, are you supposed to get results on your blog? Lol. It's like, yeah, like surprisingly, we are meant to get results from content. And I think like that's the key. Like we're not doing it for the sake of doing it because a marketer like us has told you, right, you need to blog. It's like it needs to be actually getting results from your business.
Yeah, like if you are let's set this as like the test, right? If you are creating a piece of content and it does not get a reaction, no matter how small your audience is, because let's face it, if you have a smaller audience, those people in the audience are still going to see it. And if they still don't react, you've got a huge problem with that content. I don't do that piece of content again. Like we see the same people posting every day or every week a new blog, and they've never had a comment. They've never even had like a reaction or a like or anything. And yet they do it for years and years and years. Like, what is the point? It's not doing anything for you. And if you actually invested more time in it, which I know it sounds like, oh my God, I don't get results from it, so why would I invest more time in it? Then like you would actually get more results. But that's a catch-22 that people fall into. It's like they're not investing time into the content, which means they don't get results from it, which means they don't really want to invest time in their content, which means they don't create great content, which means they don't get results from the content, which means that they don't feel like they're getting results from it, so they're not going to invest time in it.
I call that a self-licking ice cream because it's like that's the Southern saying. So, it's like Facebook posts, right? Where if you don't, without reach, you don't get engagement. Without engagement, you don't get reach, So it's like, it's a constant, frustration for people. So what do you think for those of you of those who are out there that are maybe like struggling with their blogging, or their content? It's not just blogging, because at the end of the day, content comes in. Let's talk about that real quick. That is actually one of my questions is, how did you guys decipher what format your content was going to show up? Like, was it going to be a blog post? Was it going to be a podcast? Was it going to be social media content? Like, how did you guys discern that?
Okay.
And where was you going to put your focus, I guess?
Yeah, so this is a really interesting question, and we see like a lot of people will ask us that question, like what should I do? And like what we've realized is that it doesn't necessarily matter as long as you can make a case for your audience consuming that piece of content on that specific platform. It doesn't necessarily matter, and like nowadays we can make a case for our audience being almost everywhere. What matters more is if you actually enjoy it. Right? So if you don't enjoy doing video, then don't do video. If you prefer doing podcasts over writing, then do a podcast. If you enjoy actually writing, then do writing, right? You're never going to make it engaging. And more importantly, you're never going to keep it up and be consistent with it if you don't enjoy it. So for us, like video is our preferred format because we actually enjoy scripting, we actually enjoy like performing it, we actually enjoy thinking of like fun things that we can do, and because we enjoy it, we can keep it up and we can be more engaging.
Okay, so this is supposed to be funny. Right? So we're creating Now, somebody else said earlier, so I want to clarify. I totally understand that the term is edutainment, not edumatainment. But edumatainment is more in alignment with the way I speak, so that's the way I say it. Same with like, Tanya is saying, good Lord, is that the water bottle the size of Pete's leg? Yeah, probably, because he's a little bitty guy. So here's a great example of edumatainment. It flows off of my tongue. Edutainment versus the other word just does not flow off my tongue, even though it's the correct pronunciation and spelling. So I just want to clarify that. But I know
people are still waiting for those 5 things.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll quickly go through them, but there is actually a really good blog that we did as a guest blog on Kingcast's website. Ooh. So go check that out. It's called something like How to Create Shareable Content. And there's 5 different elements from it. Number 1 is basically brand advocates. Okay, so if you can get people to really, really like you by sharing your own personal stories, being a little bit more vulnerable, then people are going to start to get behind you, and they're going to start to want to share it because they want to. You can even be proactive and ask. So, for example, if you're watching this, if you're enjoying it, like, we'd love it if you could comment, if you could share, if you could give it some likes. That will help everyone involved here today, and we'd really appreciate that. So that's one way to get engagement and to get share. You can just ask for it, and you can get people to start liking you. The next thing is emotion. So if you elicit some type of emotion, then people are going to share that. So it could be funny, it could be inspirational, it could be sad, it could be angry, whatever it is. Emotion makes people share, gets them involved. So tell more stories, be more vulnerable. It comes back to this authenticity thing as well, again. The next thing is appearance. So it's like, it's not your appearance necessarily, it's other people's. So if your content makes other people look good for sharing it, then they are going to share it, basically. So for example, if someone shares a super funny video and you share it, then all of a sudden you're that funny person because you shared something funny. Okay, if you tag a friend in something funny, like you're the funny person. So it makes you look good for sharing it. So if you can make people look good, then that's great. That's one of the reasons why Snapchat filters are so popular. And now Instagram's copying them and so forth, because they make people look good. So they want to share the photos. So yeah, that's cool.
I think they also make you laugh. I mean, if I want a good laugh, I go to Snapchat, pull up some of their filters, and I just have a good time with the filters. So.
Exactly. The next thing is causes and beliefs. So if you can get behind a cause or a mission, then people can get behind that too and help support you on that and share it with you. And the last thing, which is really important, is high value, or I would actually be tempted to say hyper value. And so that's like going above and beyond. So, for example, there's a guy called Brian Dean, and Brian Dean basically is an SEO expert, and he's faced in the toughest industry of them all for blog content, right? And all of these millions of competitors around the world are creating these great blogs, and they're doing them every week even. Like, how is he even supposed to compete with that? So instead, what he did, rather than do it weekly, he instead started releasing a blog every 6 weeks. And every 6 weeks, he wouldn't just wait 5 weeks and then write a blog in 1 week. He would work on that blog for 6 weeks, and it's incredible. He creates like the most epic blogs ever, and they're like websites in themselves. They're beautifully designed, actionable, amazing. Brian Dean from Backlinko, you can check him out. And like, they are hyper value, and he gets thousands and thousands of shares, tens of thousands of shares, because they are so epic. And it's because he invests time in it, which is how I kind of preceded this before by saying it's about the time. Because if you put the time in, you have time to think about how you can add emotion. You have time to think about the hyper value or the stories you want to create in there. And you just start to think about it more and assess it more, what works, what doesn't. And eventually that'll really, really help you. All the greatest content stories have been someone doing content. It has not got engagement. They've got bored. They've started to tweak it. It's got engagement. They've leaned more into that, and it snowballed. And that's basically how all the best content creators have grown.
Love it. So since we're just talking about stories, I'm going to just pull a little story out of you guys, if you don't mind. Yeah. So I know you mentioned you guys started your business right out of university, but how far back does your friendship go, and how did it start?
Oh, well, it actually started at the start of university. So we met each other on the very first day of university. We actually were just randomly placed together in the same halls of residence, and we lived together for 3 years at university. We did a 3-year course, so between our second and our third year, we set up our own business just at university, and we ran the Entrepreneur Society when we were at Lancaster University. And I think we just bonded, didn't we, Pete, over like our passion for business and to like one day rule the world. And like when we came to graduate, it was like, do we go and get a job and do what all of our friends are doing and doing what like the education system pushes you to do? Like, there was hardly anything around. There was an Entrepreneur Society, and that was pretty much it. Like, everything else was geared around apply for corporate jobs. And we were 21. Well, we weren't even 21. We were 20 at the time. And it was like, do we go this corporate route, or like now, before we've got wives and mortgages and like responsibilities, do we like try to do this now? And we kind of took that leap fresh out of university, and we haven't really looked back.
That's awesome. Ride. I love it. So for those that are listening or perhaps watching even on the replay, and if you are watching on the replay, type in, #replay so we can like acknowledge you guys.
Where were you?
Yes, you weren't with us live, but at least you still get to enjoy all this funness that we're having right now. And funness probably is not probably not a good word. It's probably not a real word. I just made it up. So when it comes to those that are trying to figure this out, like for themselves, like, should I have a podcast? Should I do, spend more time on my blog? Because I totally agree with what Pete was talking about when it comes to blog content. Do the work, do the time. We've got to a place where content for content's sake is no longer working. It used to be a check the box, right, kind of thing. Done, shoot, I'll get some Google traffic because I put a blog post up that's, got a lot, it's keyword stuffed, that was kind of the old model. Now, I think content is quality content over quantity content for sure. But for those that are out there and they're trying to figure out, where do I focus? Like you talked a little bit about, don't do it if you don't like it. But what if none of those really resonates with you? Like, I don't know if I want to do I don't know. Podcast, that sounds scary. Live show, that sounds scary. Like writing a blog, I'm not a writer. Do you have some advice for people who, just to maybe try a few things to see if if any of those things are for you?
Yeah. So absolutely. Feel free to just go and try stuff. It's the barriers to entry to all the platforms are so minimal. You can do everything just very, very easily. Even podcasting, you can just start one in a day if you want. But the real key is to not get shiny object syndrome and try and do all of them all really well. So this is what our keynote was about at Social Media Marketing World, which was the scariest thing ever, by the way, in front of 5,000 people. But essentially, we call it our 90-10 rule. And so the more things you try and do, the more of your precious time is spread out and the less impactful you're going to be. So like I said, with, Brian Dean and Andy Crestodina as well, he said that research piece it took him 156 hours to complete. Now, can you imagine if Andy was also trying to be an Instagram influencer, a YouTube expert, and a podcaster? That would not happen. You could not spend 156 hours on all those three things. And this is what we see people try and do. They try and rock their Instagram account. They try and have an amazing YouTube channel. And they try and have, presence on LinkedIn as well as Facebook, because you need to be on Facebook, right? You need to do Facebook videos, the pixel. Oh, wow. And then you also need a blog for the traffic and the SEO. You can't miss that out. But actually, people aren't reading blogs anymore. They're listening to podcasts. So let's start a podcast. And all of a sudden, you're overwhelmed and you've got too much on. You can't do any of it particularly well. Nothing works. It's a waste of time. So what you really need to do is focus 90% of your efforts into doing just one thing remarkably well. And you can experiment with the other 10%. You can experiment, you can test new things, you can try new things. But essentially, just focus 90% of your efforts on one thing, the thing that you enjoy the most, the thing that gets the most results, maybe. Whatever that one thing is for you, you need to test a few things out, and that's fine. We did blogging for years. We tried a video. It outperformed our blog by 1,000%. We enjoyed it more. So we carried on with the YouTube videos. It was better for us than the blog, but that's not to say that that's the case for everyone. So yeah, the 90-10 rule for the win.
Yeah, so interesting. So I'll just give you guys my little take on things just from the outside looking in. So I've seen your evolution, right? I've seen you guys grow and evolve, and it's been just wonderful. I love it when I get to meet someone, I can say, oh yeah, I've known you 7 years. And then I see where you started and where you've ended up. Right. So it's exciting to see your growth and the evolution that you guys have created for your business. And more importantly, how that has rolled into other people's businesses, because you share your knowledge so freely. And that's speaks to my heart, because that's what I'm about. But one thing that I've noticed, like I've not spent a lot of time on your blog. I'll just tell you guys that straight up, but I love your video content. So like I'm a subscriber. I like, make sure I watch your latest videos. Your videos are fun. Not only can I see you guys, I get a sense of I already know who you are, but if I didn't, I would very quickly know. I have a know, like, and trust factor with you just from your video content. So when you realized, was that an accident? Was discovering that video, let's try video and see. And then when you realized it was going to be way more beneficial for you, was that like intentional, or was it, just because sometimes that happens in our businesses. You stumble across something that works that you didn't know it was going to work. So I'm just curious what your all's experience was.
Yeah, it was. We had toyed with video for a long time, and like if you go and look at like some of our first videos on our YouTube channel, they weren't actually like our first videos. Like we were creating like the odd video for years before, and they were just kind of awful. They were just like really cringy. But like people kept on telling us like, you guys are fun, you guys are funny, and like we knew that the blog. Like it's like blogging. We're not saying blogging can't be done well. It's just a lot harder to get across a stronger personality from it alone. I think you need to be a really talented writer, which I'm not sure if me and Pete are. But just like putting on a video and talking and having a laugh and then getting them edited so it's not boring. Like we did make an intentional shift at one point to say, right, let's stop this blogging malarkey because we're spending hours on it every single week and it's not getting us anywhere. Let's like draw a line in the sand and let's like try out this video thing. And we got the help from Amy Landino, who was Amy Schmittauer at the time. We had been like following her journey, watching her videos, and like we joined her membership that she had at the time. And it was like, right, let's not do this in halves. Like, if we're going to do this, like, let's actually spend 90% of our efforts doing this really well. Let's get the right education on this. Let's script them properly. Let's get them edited properly. And let's like push it properly. And I don't think we've personally looked back with our video content or thinking that's the right thing to do. Like, since we actually did do it properly and not just faffed on with it.
And so in place of your weekly blog, you do a weekly video, correct? Mm-hmm. And you share that video on your blog as well. So is it in both places? Yes, for SEO juice. Yeah.
So like one thing that we've got really good at over the years as well is just processing and outsourcing. So now literally to create that video, all we do now is we script, we film, and then that footage goes to our video editor. Our video editor sends it to our content manager. Our content manager puts it through Rev, gets the transcript, uploads it to YouTube, puts on all the captions, puts on the tags, writes the promotional email, turns the transcript into a blog, puts that on the website. And that used to be things that we would do. We like had that process and we were doing that ourselves, and it was taking us a good few hours. It was probably, what would you say, Pete, like a day or at least a morning per week we were spending just to get one video out.
Yeah, it was about 6 hours.
Yeah, we worked out what worked, processed it, outsourced it. And we don't just do that with our content. Like every single aspect of our business, processed, outsourced to give us more freedom and time to do it all better.
So Chrissy just says something. She says, your video editor is great. I love the little elements that make it pop. Same here. I'm like telling my video editors, hey, take a look at what Andrew and Pete is doing over here and do something similar. Because they are fun. The little video elements are super fun. So definitely check out Andrew and Pete over on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and type in Andrew and Pete. You will find them. They've got some amazing video content. So one of the questions that I saw come through, let's see if I can. Oh, Franna is asking, how long are your videos normally? In context, so I'm going to add to that question and flesh it out a little bit. In context with the fact that I think content needs to be designed, and I would love your all's take on this, content needs to be crafted for the platform that you're going to use it on. Mm-hmm. And so I've found that YouTube content is different and needs to be crafted differently than what you might put out somewhere else. So you all agree with that. So when
Yeah.
it comes to your YouTube videos, though, to go back to Franna's
Yeah.
question, what do you usually, from a time length perspective, what's the normal range?
Okay, so this is a really great question because it opens up numerous different elements of it, because like we're told all the time that you need to create more like snackable content, like people's attention spans are dwindling, all this kind of stuff, like make it short, make it sweet, make it concise, don't bore people. Whereas like all that research is like, it's not really actually backed up that our attention spans are like that bad. It's actually just the fact that people are making really boring content, and people will stay for as long as you can hold their attention. Like, that's why we watch 1 hour long episodes of series on Netflix. That's why we watch films. That's why we watch BuzzFeed videos or stay on TikTok for hours, right? But it's like it'll hold your attention for as long as it can. Like, there's no limit to that. And so like our YouTube videos are about 10 minutes long. Now, they started off being 3 to 5 minutes. And what we realized is people dropped off after a few minutes. As we got better and better with our content, as we put more time into it, as we got a video editor, as we wrote better scripts, we realized we could hold people's attentions for longer. And so our videos also got longer, and we wanted to offer more value. Another bonus of that is that if you want to rank in the algorithm for YouTube, you need to increase your watch time, which is one of the biggest indicators of how well your video should be ranked. Essentially, how long do people watch your video for? And not just your video, but do they stay on the platform and keep watching videos? So, for example, we've got on our YouTube video a video that's called like Facebook algorithm explained, or how to get more organic reach, or something like that. And it's like 10 minutes long, and people watch like 60 to 70% of that video. Like on average, 60 to 70% of people like watch that whole thing, which is incredibly high for a video. And so it ranks in the top like 5 results consistently. And when people watch it, not only do they watch that one video, but it's also in a playlist, and it links to 2 other videos that are exactly the same, like context. So like another one is like 10 engaging posts that also sell on Facebook to increase your organic reach, or something like that. And so like if you're watching a video on organic reach, you're going to watch this 10 examples, right? Because now you know what works. You want some easy, quick wins, right? So then they go and watch that video. And all the while, this increases the watch time of that first video, which is now ranking higher. And so it's a really long-winded way of saying, like,
10 minutes.
It doesn't matter how long your content is, so long as it holds people's attention.
Yeah. And I would suggest, even, especially if you're first starting, that again, everything has to be tested, guys. There's no like magic formula. When we, like all of us that teach what we have tried, and we share what's worked for us.
Mm-hmm.
And that shortens the learning curve for sure. But at the end of the day, you really just have to continue to test with what your community is going to consume. One thing that's nice about YouTube is that you don't necessarily have to have community there to get value from it, because it's a search engine and people are going to be searching for content there. That's the fascinating thing, I think, that makes YouTube different from some other social platforms. Mm-hmm. So understanding that if you do the time, though, depending on what types of content, really love what you guys said about it, especially if you're just starting, really devote the majority of your time to one thing. It's the same with social platforms. Everybody thinks they have to be all over the place and they have to be on all socials. And it's hard to keep up with all socials and still grow a business. The reality is most people aren't. They're not growing a business. They're trying to keep up with everything that they think has to happen to grow their business, which means they're again, using a lot. They're reversing. They're spending 90% of their time doing like the 50,000 things that have to happen in their business and spending 10% growing their business. I'm just going to put that out there. So if that's an ouchie for y'all, I'm just saying that trust us, we get it because we've been there too. And some days we have to fight that, right? Would you all agree that some days we have to fight?
And well, that's the thing as well with the 90-10 rule. Like it applies to everything in our business. So like with the 90-10 rule, like you can do more stuff, but only when you've got to that point where everything's like outsourced, processed, automated, delegated. You're not doing it. Like so. Like if you're gonna sell something, like focus on one thing to sell at a time. Don't try and like promote 10 different things at a time. Have like one avatar to focus on at a time. Like don't try and spread your message to 5 different avatars. It's just spreading yourself too thin. It's diluting your focus, and you're not gonna have as good a result.
Yeah,
so it kind of works across the board with everything in your business, as it were.
All right. Yes, I love it. So I'm going to pull up a couple of the winners as we go, and then if we get questions, we'll have everybody. So we have ring light winner is Carolyn. Carolyn, if you would go to the little message up above, I see you're here on Facebook, and send us your mailing address. We'll get that in the mail. And then same with Tanya, you won the webcam cover. So if you'll send us your mailing address by clicking on the little button up there. And Carrie is saying, I fight the natural tendencies every day that don't serve my business. Carrie, you're not alone. I just want to say that. But I really felt like that, Pete's advice on, really streamlining your focus and spending 90% of it on the one thing is just wicked smart. So try to change that dynamic. And then let's see. I am Dahlia. I'm using StreamYard right now. Normally on the live show, our Marketing That Grows Your Business show, Jeff C produces that show, and we use another tool for it. But we were having trouble with that this morning, and we had trouble with it Monday. So we're like, all right, we're just going to go with StreamYard.
It does not like us, that tool.
Good British people. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it just doesn't. So, and the easel winners, guys, those of you who won easel, Sally, Kimberly, and Billy, yay, welcome to easel.com. You're going to love the tool. If you will send us, if you click on the little icon up above and send us your email address. We don't need a mailing address, but an email address, and we'll get you guys set up for your easel account. All right. So, just trying to see if there's any questions. Did y'all see anything we didn't address that was like an elephant in the house? Because we could talk about this all day long.
Yeah.
That would be, I love talking this stuff because it's, we're very passionate about our experiences and our knowledge and sharing it and letting you guys know how to do it. For people who are interested in connecting with you guys, since we had to shift the tool we were using, I don't have everything on my screen, but several people had asked, and I'm going to just drop it in, had asked about your domain. So it's andrewandpete.com is where you can find their blog. Where, like for your YouTube, for example, where would be a good, is it just Andrew and Pete, go over there, or do you have a short link?
Yeah, so if you go to andrewandpete.com, you'll find links to everything. If you want to check out our YouTube channel, it's andrewandpete.tv. We'll take you right there to the YouTube channel, or just search Andrew and Pete on YouTube as well. And
I know you guys have a membership. You have one product. You basically, so let me talk about this for a second, because I think this is important in the context of what you guys just said. You focus 90% of your time on one thing. You don't try to create, 1,001 things. You do focus on your content, but when it comes to selling one thing, you have one thing. What does that look like for you guys?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So we have our membership for small business owners. So if you are a one-man band, a small team, and you want to grow your business, you want to scale it, you want to make more money without having to necessarily work longer hours. Okay, if we're very much against the anti-hustle mentality, then feel free to come over and check out Atomic. It's becomeatomic.com. You can find links on that Andrew and Pete website. And basically what we decided was we looked at all our different income streams, and we had like 9 different income streams, different services. And we actually did a cash flow forecast of all of our income streams, and we mapped them out. Like, if we do really well on all of these income streams in 5 years' time, like, what's going to make us the most amount of money? What's going to make us the happiest? And by a long way, it was on membership, Atomic. And so we thought, well, if we actually, rather than spreading ourselves thin over 9 different services, like, we can't create amazing funnels for 9 different things, like, in a month. Like, it just doesn't work. So we cut everything. We fired our one-to-one clients. We stopped working with big Fortune 100 companies that were talking to us, and we just said, okay, that's it. Like, no, like, we're just gonna focus on Atomic. And because we've done that, like, we were able to quadruple our membership in a very short space of time, which was phenomenal, and we can see the growth going. It doesn't mean that in the future we're never going to offer anything else, but for now, we are getting that rocking. We're making sure everything's processed, outsourcing as much as we can, and we're just enjoying it for now.
Yeah.
So
a couple of people are asking what it actually is. So it is a membership community. You get courses, you get weekly masterclasses, we do networking opportunities, and there is a live conference as part of it as well. That's happening in Newcastle in the UK next year, next April. Or you can watch it live on the internet if you don't want to come to Newcastle. And we're super excited because Kim Garst is coming. And this is your first speaking gig in the UK, right?
Yes, I've not been to the UK before, so I'm super excited about it.
We cannot wait to have you over in the UK.
It's been about two years, I suppose, and in October it'll be 2 years, I believe. Was my first trip to Europe, which was it's kind of bizarre that I'm as old as I am and I'd never been to Europe. I got to go to Ireland. Our friend Ian Cleary invited me over to speak at an event he was hosting, and that was super fun. And I'm hooked now. So shortly after that, I got to go to like 6 or 7 countries with my son's hockey team. Went to places I'd never thought I would. They weren't on my bucket list, but it was so amazing. I would never have thought I would want to go to Slovakia or, even Poland. Like, I would have probably chose Spain, let's go to Barcelona or somewhere, but it was just an incredible experience. And
sometimes that's the best way.
I cannot wait to show you the sights of Newcastle. We're going to get you fish and chips. Yes. We're going to take you for a Sunday dinner. We're going to take you to the pub.
Okay.
You're not going to want to leave.
Let's do it.
I'm going to show you some castles.
That would be amazing. So maybe I'll just rent an Airbnb and stay for a while, right? Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for sharing your genius with everybody. And I hope those of you who have been with us have gotten value, and definitely connect with Andrew and Pete, because not only will you be blessed with value, but they're just contagious. They've got an amazing entertaining value, because they're just fun. So you're definitely going to be blessed by the connection. So definitely connect with them, and I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks for spending some of it with us. Take care of yourself. Stay safe. We'll see you soon. Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you so much, Kim. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you. Thanks, Kim. You're awesome, everyone.